At our class reunion, my unfaithful wife spent the entire evening belittling me, her words sharp and cutting. Then, everything became clear when her high school sweetheart arrived. She clung to him, allowing his hands to roam freely as they danced, while my anger simmered beneath the surface. I strode toward them, my voice low and menacing. "Take your hands off my wife, or I'll break them." He smirked, leaning in with an air of arrogance. "Try it, nerd, and I'll leave you in a bloody heap." Isabel, my wife, laughed, a cruel, mocking sound that only fueled my rage. But what they didn't know was that my revenge would be unforgettable. Imagine standing in a grand ballroom, surrounded by old friends, the air thick with nostalgia and laughter, only to witness the woman you devoted your life to throw herself into another man's embrace. That night, I saw the truth for what it was. The way she touched him, the way she looked at him, the way she laughed at me, it all made sense. This wasn't just an old flame rekindled for one night. No, this had been going on for years. She believed she had triumphed, humiliating me in front of our entire class. But she had no idea that I had been preparing for this moment long before the reunion. And when my plan unfolded, she would regret underestimating me. My name is Nathan Carter, and for the last 8 years, I believed I had the perfect marriage. I met Isabel in university. She was brilliant, confident, and admired by everyone. I was the quiet, studious type, the one people often overlooked. Yet, somehow we clicked. I worked tirelessly, built a successful career in corporate finance, and provided her with a comfortable, affluent life in London. I thought we were happy, but happiness is just an illusion, one that shattered at our 15-year class reunion. Isabel had been acting strangely for weeks before the event. She spent more time on her phone, taking calls in hushed tones from another room. She obsessed over her appearance, trying on outfit after outfit, changing her hair, even indulging in a spa day, things she never did for me. At first, I attributed it to excitement about seeing old friends. I wanted to believe that, but deep down, something felt off. Then I saw the name flashing on her phone screen one night, Lucas. It took me a moment to place it. Then it hit me. Lucas Morrow, her high school boyfriend, the one that got away. That's when I realized this wasn't just a reunion. It was a rekindling. The venue was a luxurious ballroom in an upscale London hotel, the kind of place where people sipped champagne and exaggerated their successes. I arrived with Isabel, still hoping I was mistaken, but the moment we stepped inside, she ignored me completely. She laughed and whispered with old friends. And when Lucas finally made his entrance, her face lit up with an unmistakable glow. I watched as she melted into his arms, his hands shamelessly exploring as they swayed to the music. Then she turned to me and laughed. Not a light chuckle, but a sharp, mocking laugh, loud enough for others to hear. That was the moment I snapped. I stormed up, grabbed Lucas's arm, and growled, "Take your hands off my wife or I'll break them." Lucas sneered, eyes glinting with amusement. "Try it, nerd, and I'll leave you in a bloody heap." And Isabel? She laughed again, right in my face. I looked around. People were watching, whispering. In that moment, a realization struck me. I had spent years working to provide Isabel with everything she ever wanted. I had sacrificed time, built a career, and ensured a comfortable life for her. And yet, she had no respect for me. She saw me as weak, someone she could ridicule, cheat on, and discard without consequence. That was when I made my decision. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was about justice. And I would ensure that she lost everything. Instead of lashing out, I did something unexpected. I smiled. Isabel's smirk faltered, confusion flickering in her eyes. Lucas hesitated. Good. They weren't expecting this. I turned to the bartender and calmly ordered a drink. As I sipped it, I pulled out my phone and sent a single message to my lawyer, to my banker, and to the private investigator I had hired weeks ago. Because while Isabel had been busy rekindling her romance with Lucas, I had been busy uncovering the truth. I knew everything. I knew about the secret apartment she had been renting under a fake name. I knew about the hidden bank account where she had been stashing money for months. And I knew that Lucas wasn't just an old flame. He was a con artist, a man who had been using Isabel to fund his extravagant lifestyle. And she had fallen for it completely. Tonight, everything would come crashing down. I turned back to Isabel and Lucas, still smirking, still believing they had won. "Enjoy the night," I said smoothly. Isabel's eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? I simply smiled, because as she stood there, blissfully unaware, her world was already beginning to crumble. And she still had no idea. She stood beside Lucas, her fingers lightly tracing his arm, while her gaze darted between me and the growing crowd that had gathered to watch. She expected me to storm off, humiliated. She thought she had won. She was wrong. I gave her one last smile, the kind that sent a shiver down her spine, before casually turning toward the bar. And that was when everything began to unravel. It started with a single chime, someone's phone. Then another. Then another. Murmurs spread across the ballroom as people checked their screens, their eyes flicking toward Isabel and Lucas. She frowned, pulling out her own phone, and the moment she saw the screen, her face turned ghostly pale. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through the messages, her breathing ragged. Lucas, noticing her distress, leaned in. "What's wrong?" And then the whispers turned to laughter. Leaning against the bar, I sipped my drink as Isabel shot me a glare, her voice shaking. "What did you do?" I raised my glass in a mock toast. "Oh, I just thought your classmates should know the truth." Lucas hastily pulled out his phone. The moment his eyes met the screen, his expression darkened. Because at that exact moment, everyone in the room had received an email from Isabel's account. Attached were screenshots, bank statements, hidden messages, the undeniable evidence of her affair, proof that she had been siphoning money from our joint accounts. And most damning of all, documents exposing Lucas for the con artist he truly was. For years, Lucas had preyed on wealthy women, convincing them to fund his lavish lifestyle with empty promises of a future together while draining their finances. I had hired a private investigator to uncover every deception, every lie. And tonight, in front of everyone, the truth was laid bare. The room buzzed with disgusted murmurs. "My God, she was paying for everything," someone whispered. "She was planning to leave Nathan and take all his money with her," another voice chimed in. Lucas turned to Isabel, his facade crumbling. "You idiot! How could you let this happen?" She reeled back, stunned. "Me? You said no one would ever find out." I chuckled, swirling my drink. "Oh, he told you that, and you actually believed him." Lucas turned on me, his eyes burning with rage. "You think this is funny?" I straightened, stepping closer as the room fell silent. "No, Lucas. What's funny is that you thought you could get away with it." His fist clenched, ready to lash out. "You... Ah! I interrupted, pulling out my phone. "Before you do something reckless, you should know." I tapped the screen. "Your bank accounts? Frozen. Your credit cards? Canceled. The penthouse you've been staying in? Evicted as of 30 minutes ago." The color drained from his face. I smirked. "You're broke, Lucas. Just like every woman you've scammed before. Except this time." I leaned in. "There's no one left to save you." Isabel's frantic eyes darted around the room, searching for an ally. But there was no one. The people she once called friends recoiled, disgust etched across their faces. Even her boss, a well-respected figure in finance, shook his head in disappointment. "This is disgraceful." Tears welled in her eyes. "Nathan, please." I held up a hand. "Oh, don't worry, Isabel. You'll have plenty of time to reflect on your choices." Her brows furrowed in confusion. And then the police officers stepped forward. "Isabel Carter?" A stern voice cut through the tense air. She turned slowly, eyes wide with fear. We have a warrant for your arrest. Charges include financial fraud, identity theft, and embezzlement. She staggered back, panic setting in. No, there must be a mistake. Lucas's bitter laugh echoed through the room. Looks like you got played too, sweetheart. I took a step forward, lowering my voice so only she could hear. You tried to destroy me, Isabel. I let my smile widen, but I was always 10 steps ahead. As the handcuffs snapped around her wrists, she screamed my name, but I remained calm, composed, and utterly free of the woman who thought she could break me. Lucas disappeared after that night. Last I heard, he was begging for money online, his reputation in ruins. As for Isabel, she lost everything. Her career, over. No firm in finance would touch her. Her reputation, shattered. Her freedom, well, fraud charges don't just disappear overnight. And me? I moved on, found someone who truly loved and respected me. And every now and then, when I think back to that night, I remind myself of one simple truth. The best revenge isn't fueled by anger. It's built on success.